those guys that throughout his NBA career, a lot of finger pointing. Jimmy's a problem. But I had said about a month ago, the Warriors need to create some inertia. They're boring. Steph looks bored. They just look bored. And Jimmy Butler gets people worked up. He's like, he works hard at practice. He'll get after a coach. Well, the Warriors are now 5-1 since Jimmy Butler arrived. By the way, how are his old team, the Sixers, doing with Joel Embiid? They've lost 7th straight, and Embiid got benched yesterday. And remember, Embiid was the franchise. Jimmy Butler in Philadelphia was viewed as a problem. He was also viewed as a problem in Chicago, where he led them to the second round of the playoffs, and they've been unwatchable since. He goes to Minnesota, great numbers, playoffs. They blamed him there. He goes to Miami. They didn't blame him. Last 4 years, finals twice. Miami, a very strong organization, figured out, hey, Jimmy's not for everybody, but what Jimmy creates is intensity. And in the NBA, all these guys are talented. I mean, you don't make the NBA. Just think of how great you have to be in the NBA. But I would argue there's not that many winning players. LeBron's not just talented, he's a winning player. Steph Curry's a winning player. Draymond Green is a classic, not as talented as a lot of guys, but a winning player. Well, that's Jimmy Butler. Bulls, playoffs. T-Wolves, playoffs. Miami Heat, finals. And here he goes to the Warriors. So the Warriors were kind of a lifeless offense. When Steph was off the floor, Pods was like sometimes a 1 or a 2. You can never count on Wiggins. Well, now they have a number 2. And what he's doing, he's getting to the free throw line. So the Warriors just didn't get to the free throw line. And that is part of being a winning player. And that's what Jimmy Butler is. Right, I just looked this morning. Free throws made, they were near the bottom of the NBA. Since he arrived, they're first. Free throw percentage, bottom of the NBA. Since he's arrived, they're second. That is what a winning player does. And this organization needed fight, needed feisty, needed to get to the line, needed contact. And Jimmy is not, by the way, Miami Heat 1-5 since he left. Warriors 5-1 since he arrived.
Yeah. It's actually pretty funny because Colin absolutely said earlier, though, that he didn't think Jimmy Butler to the Warriors really mattered enough. Like, it didn't make them, like, actual contenders. He was pro the move, but just didn't think that it was, you know, ultimately going to be enough, so to speak. And it's funny now to be like, look, the Warriors are significantly better. They're 5-1 and this and that. And it's like, okay. First off, Jimmy Butler wasn't seen as a problem for the Sixers. Like, that's not why they went separate ways. That was not necessarily the story. This wasn't like how it was in Chicago or Minnesota. That's not the reality of this situation. But what Jimmy Butler does bring is, you know, to the Warriors is he does bring that level of attitude and physicality and fight that truthfully the Warriors throughout their entire run from 2015 onward, they've only ever had in Draymond Green. Only. They had it a little bit with, oh god, his name has completely slipped my mind. The guy who was from he played on the Spurs, I think, for years. And then he ended up winning one ring, I believe. He was kind of like a little bit of a bully in a positive way. His name has completely slipped my mind. And he ended up going to Golden State. I think he won it. It might have been the year that they lost to the Cavaliers. His name has completely escaped me. But you know, that was so short lived, and he wasn't in his prime, and he was definitely older, and he was definitely more kind of hanging on at that point. You know, Jimmy obviously has a ton of fight left in him. Is still incredibly hungry and still wants to ball and go hard. And it's just something that, again, that the Warriors lacked for years. Because Steph's not that type of player. Clay's not that type of player. Looney's not that type of player. Kevin Durant's not that type of player. So it's not a matter of how good you are or even how great you are, the skill set. It's just like, you know, teams need some of these dogs. They need some of these guys that are just going to just really put a ton of juice and energy into the team outside of skill. Like Steph can do that, but from a skill set. You know, KD can do that, but from a skill set. what Jimmy can bring is he can bring that energy, whether he's putting up 25, 30 points or whether he's 1 for 8. You know, like that's the difference. And the exact same thing with Draymond Green. That's what makes someone like a Draymond Green so much more, I don't want to say versatile or even necessarily reliable, but there is an actual like reliability factor because, you know, Steph or KD or any of these other great players that have obviously definitely played for the Warriors as well, like, you know, their impact can be limited if they're not shooting well. If Steph's having a cold night and he's 1 for 8 or something from 3, like, yeah, he obviously brings a ton of defensive, energy towards him, but it just is different. It just lands different on the court. Whereas a Draymond Green can honestly, his box score could literally be like 2-2-2, and yet he can still have a massive impact on the game, right? He could have 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 points, and it won't matter because of the energy, because of the fight, because of the attitude that he brings. And it's something that I think is so often overlooked, especially when you have such elite special talent like the KDs, like the Stephs, because, you know, watching them work, watching them get to the rim, watching them shoot, you know, is just, it jumps off the screen. And things like that Draymond Green does don't always, outside of obviously the games when he is having a ton of assists and things of that nature. And Jimmy is a lot of that as well. And so when Draymond doesn't have to shoulder all of that, and now you kind of have another guy there like that, I think it matters. And I think it brings, again, because these things matter in practices, they matter in the locker room when you guys are just kind of talking, it matters when you're traveling, when you're on the bus, in the hotel room, like all of it. It all matters. It all permeates the team. So it's not a surprise that you're going to kind of see this extra energy, these extra efforts. You know, everyone kind of wants to elevate their game, and it becomes contagious. It becomes contagious because, you know, no matter who you are on the team, whether you're you know, the fifth man up, you know, whether you're the 10th man on the bench, like when you see players like Jimmy, Draymond, etc., they inspire you to put in your own work ethic, to elevate your own level of effort in any given moment. You watch a KD play, honestly, one of the first thoughts are is like, man, I can never do that. Or Steph, you're like, oh my God, how did he just make that 3? I'll never be able to make that. Sometimes you watch a Steph and you're like inspired. You're like, all right, man, I got to get in the gym. I got to work on my shot. I got to start shooting better. I got it, right? They can inspire you in that regard as well. But like that takes more time. Watching a Jimmy or Draymond play, within a second, you see that and you're now like, all right, I'm going extra hard too. It's an energy thing. It really, really is, and it's motivating, and that's why you're seeing this extra energy, this extra juice, this extra fight with the Warriors, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see. So I'm glad to see them kind of, you know, again, a loss for a better way to put it, but just like re-energize themselves. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Golden State Warriors? Do you think Jimmy Butler has made them legitimate title contenders? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way. Let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.